What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Buffalo Commander. What's up, Kevin?
What's up, man?
Good, man. Good. I see that we matched on our hoodies today.
We got our hoodies and we got our hats.
Our hats and our hoodies. Look at that.
Right.
Bam.
This is old school, man.
Huh? Yours is good.
Yeah.
Mine's like I'm going hunting, but I'm also a Bills fan. So it's like a tuxedo t-shirt where you're like, I want to be formal, but I also like to party.
That's awesome.
All right, this will be our mock draft 16 through 32. We're finally going to finish this thing. There will be a mock draft 2.0 from me next week, and then we're going to do a panel mock draft with like 6 people where we rotate picks and do trades as we get down through it. That's going to be more fun than this. But we need to complete this out and get it done. We have all our picks in line. Kevin, you've got your picks in correct? Like we just went over.
Yeah, okay. You're going to show yours though, right?
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen. And today what we'll maybe do is you and I will walk through the picks together as like what's the position in need, and then we'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about who the player should be, and like give a couple options, and then kind of take it from there. We'll get it right. As long as Shedeur Sanders doesn't show up on the board, I think it's a victory.
You never know, man.
You never know, bro.
Dion could come on ESPN right now and make an announcement.
He absolutely could.
Yeah.
All right. Can you see my screen? We up?
Yep.
All right. Cool. So I actually did a 16 through 32 the other day just to see what it looks like for me. But I'm not going to look at that. I'm going to take this from scratch and just pretend like that doesn't exist to try to look at it from an outside perspective. Seattle's picks or potentials are guard, center, and edge. I think it's too early for guard or center in this draft. What do you think? Are you kind of on board with that, with this position group?
Not necessarily. I could be dead wrong on this.
Yep.
But I'm just looking at this board, and their quarterback.
Let's look. Hold on, I'm in quarterbacks now. Let me see who's available real quick. And they do need that. Edge is an option, but a couple edge guys went off.
Yeah, I mean they've got Geno, right? And then the backup is Drew Lock still, right?
Yeah, so they don't really. Well, Drew Lock's a free agent. They're probably not. I mean, I guess a quarterback could be in play, but I probably wouldn't do that at this point.
You don't think? I just,
You think? Hold on, let me who's available for quarterbacks.
Well, I mean, Penix has been rolling up the board, according to a lot of people, and I know I get Geno, but how long term is that really?
Yeah.
And it's not like they have a starting QB in waiting. I don't think so with Drew Lock.
He might be the last quarterback available that's a first-round potential grade. I know they have him ranked 47 here, but he's definitely first-round consideration on most people's boards, I think, in my opinion.
Okay.
So, Bo Nix is there too.
Yeah, so. But I saw Bo Nix. Yeah, but Penix is older. I don't know. Could he be more of a immediate insert kind of guy? Geno had a little bit of injury issue last year.
They do need a future quarterback. I think his contract, I think they can get out of it in the next, I think they can get out of it next year pretty easily, pretty clean. So having a backup to come through, and this stuff like this happens every draft, right? You're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Seattle picked a quarterback.
Well, that's right. It goes back to, okay, let's completely ignore need and look at the board and just be realistic. Right. Like what sort of talent do we have on the board? And that was the first thing I noticed.
Okay.
That it doesn't mean that, we've got to go with that, Alex. I just had that thought.
So let's look at edge real quick and see who's available. I know Jackson Powers Johnson, the center, is moving up boards, but I don't see that as a, whoops.
You still think it's too soon for that?
I just don't buy into it. I don't know. I feel like interior offensive line is kind of average at best in this draft. I just don't know if it's the best move. So I think, all right, quarterbacks. So here are your options. You're basically down to the top 2 quarterbacks and the top edge rushers, Laiatu Latu. I don't mind that pick. Chop Robinson's there. I don't know. I think it's a little early. I'm kind of with you. Who would you rather have, Bo Nix or Penix in this case?
I would rather have Penix.
Would you?
Yeah.
I think so too, because of the stylistic fit with Geno, being that Geno's got this big strong arm. He's a slender fella, pretty accurate, good downfield thrower.
I mean, Bo Nix is also already playing in Oregon. Well, I mean, you got Washington there too. Never mind. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. He is in Washington. Think about that.
yeah, as far as weather and all that, but it's basically the same thing.
I think I'm with you. I think Penix is the better prospect.
Yeah.
He's got a better arm. They're both. Nix is maybe a little bit more mobile, but a lot of Nix's issues, he's very conservative. And I think with DK Metcalf there, I think Penix is the right move. So let's go with yours.
Okay.
We'll go Penix. Next. So the Jags, it doesn't have wide receivers in need. It's guard, center, edge, and DB on this, but it depends on whether Calvin Ridley comes back or not. You know, Josh Allen was a franchise, so edge is, in my opinion, out.
Yeah.
You could do guard or center or DB. There is some good DB help. I think they need corner help. Nate Wiggins did run really well, but there's also a wide receiver on the board too. And there's quite a few of them that are pretty solid. So I hate to hurt the Bills in their position, but I kind of think that receiver is the best move here. And I do believe this is a trade up spot for Buffalo potentially, but we're not doing trades in this. But I do think that this is a spot where they may look to fill Calvin Ridley's absence and to give Trevor Lawrence some support. Or how do you feel about that?
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
Okay.
Brian Thomas Jr., in my opinion, is the fourth best receiver in this draft. I don't necessarily think it's particularly close. I think he's in an island by himself. And they give your top three guys Brian Thomas, and then your next four in the kind of a group. So I'm going to go Brian Thomas Jr. on this one since you got the Penix pick.
Okay.
Bengals, they tagged T. Higgins. I think it's fair to say that there's no tight ends worth the pick.
Yeah, that's what was going to be my question because, I mean, they're tight ends that they have currently. I mean, Tanner Hudson.
Yeah, and they also have what's his freaking name?
But we know there's some free agents out there too.
Yeah. There is, and this is not a good tight end draft. I almost think offensive tackle and defensive line are probably the plays here.
Okay.
So we've got the best defensive tackle left. They did lose Reader, their defensive tackle from last year. He's out. So Byron Murphy could fill that spot. Or you could go with Troy Fontenot or Marius Mims. And Marius Mims is a monster of a man. He's humongous. He's like 6'7" and 340. He's huge.
Okay.
He's an athlete too. So he's more of a raw prospect. Troy Fontenot is more of a ready-made prospect. They actually thought Fontenot was going to be more of a guard, and his arms measured in like 35 plus inches, which means he's definitely equipped to play tackle too. So I don't know. It depends on what you want. You want the upside guy, or you want the guy who is ready-made to play right now that may not have quite the upside?
Yeah.
What would you prefer if it was Washington?
I'd rather have the guy that's ready now.
Okay. So let's go Fontenot. I think that's the right pick.
Okay.
All right. True Fontenot is the play. All right. Next, Rams. So quarterback's not going to be on their board. I just think they're going to wait on that till next year, but they could use a tackle. They could use a defensive lineman for sure to pair next to Aaron Donald. But I think edge is more in play here than it is with defensive line. I hate this system. I got to scroll through to get to it. Linebacker too early. I just don't think it's there. And then DB. So let's go.
Too early for defensive end.
Well, I got ends on there now.
Or defensive line. Yeah,
D line. I think. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have edge in there. It should be D line. So hold on. Defensive ends. Okay.
I mean, I'm thinking Jerzon Newton, but I just don't know how you feel about. Is that too early for somebody like him?
So I think him and Byron Murphy are very similar, but I think Byron Murphy's probably a little bit better a prospect just because.
Yeah.
Just think his track record's a little stronger. So if we're going to go defensive line, that's an option. But edge is there too. And so my case for edge is they don't really have a good edge rusher there. They do have a good defensive line, defensive tackle in Aaron Donald that penetrates pretty well up the middle, and he's not going anywhere right now. So unless you want to prep Byron Murphy to be the next guy or put him right next to him, Byron Murphy and Newton are both smaller defensive tackles, like in the 295 to 300 range. Do you want another undersized defensive tackle right next to him? And if not, he's going to be backing up Aaron Donald versus having a big space eater. And I don't think there's any space eaters worth of this pick. So I would rely more on edge than I would defensive line or corner. So Nate Wiggins is still here. After they lost Ramsey, they really haven't replaced him adequately. So I think they could use that on the outside. And Quinyon Mitchell is another. Actually, I like Quinyon Mitchell better.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's do Quinyon.
Okay.
Yep. He's bigger. Wiggins weighed in at 179 at the combine. That's really light. I think people are going to have some issues with that. And Quinyon Mitchell's still on the board. I forgot I never took him. That's crazy because Derek was so adamant about Terrion Arnold. Anyway,
I had Terrion Arnold too, though.
Did you? Yeah. Well, most people probably do. Quinyon just shot up boards recently.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know why it's not on here, but offensive tackle is a need for Pittsburgh for sure. They just lost Patrick Peterson, right before we took this call. So I think that's on the board too. And then we've got linebacker. I'm not concerned with that, or center. I mean, I guess we could throw a center in there at this point too.
Again, you can definitely trump me on this, but my immediate thought was Jeremiah Trotter Jr. just because I think the name is nostalgic, and I can see him in a Steelers uniform.
So I agree. I do. That is a vibe that I feel, right?
Yeah.
I do think this is a kind of a weak linebacker draft. I don't believe anyone's going to get taken. I think second round's probably the early range. And
I'm looking at that now, and his rank's pretty low. You probably know more about that than me, but yeah,
he was number one, and then he faded a lot. So it wasn't a situation where, I don't even know what the reason for it, but I guess more tape was revealed, and it's like, this guy's got more flaws than we think. So he's been falling down people's boards. I probably wouldn't do it at this point. So I think let's stick to corner, center, or tackle. I think that's our best move. So we do Cooper DeJean, but he's more of a safety, but he can play all over the place. That would be kind of a Steelers thing to do. Nate Wiggins, who's really fast and really good, but he's really thin. The best center in the draft, Jackson Powers Johnson, is on the board. Kool-Aid McKinstry, cornerback, best name in the draft. Or Amarius Mims, who is the elite kind of, toolsy tackle with a lot of traits.
Your call on this one.
Okay. I'm going to go. I'm going to go Cooper DeJean. I think he's just got so much flexibility, and he feels like a Steeler. And it might just be the yellow and black from Iowa, but he feels like a guy that Steelers would love, as like a Swiss Army knife. He could play anywhere, and they'll just see at camp where he's best,
Got it. And
they'll find a spot. So, all right, Miami's up. Miami just signed Jonnu Smith. I don't think tight end's really high on their board right now. They're not going to lose Armstead probably till next year. Interior offensive line is definitely in play. I think that's probably the main need. So this is probably where the center goes off the board. I think it's fairly common to mock Jackson Powers Johnson to them.
Okay.
This is a right spot, in the draft, and Miami has a serious need. So they're getting ready to lose Connor Williams, who we had spoken about in a previous video. He was in Dallas, and then he transitioned to Miami, and they moved him to center, and he's just wanting too much money now, so they let him walk. Or they're not going to. They're going to try to re-sign him, but they're going to let him compete in the market. So let's do that.
Okay.
Eagles. You may know more about what their weaknesses are than I do. I know corner is one that I would consider, because what are their corners are like? Slay's 34 years old.
Yeah.
And Bradbury's 32 or 31. I mean, they're ancient at that position. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I feel is one of the glaring needs. But do you think there's anything else out there that they need really to kind of, I don't know, fill the void to get them back to where they were?
Not necessarily, other than to say I think it needs to be on defense. I think they were definitely exposed towards the second half of the year.
Yep.
So, out of these cornerbacks, I mean, you know me, I get distracted by the names. Kool-Aid
Sure.
McKinstry sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But it's Nate Wiggins. I mean, he's ranked higher. What do you think?
I think Kool-Aid's a good. I think Kool-Aid fits probably what they want to do schematically better.
Okay.
He has more physicality. They like to man up, and I think he's going to be better at. He's not as fast as Nate is, but he's got movement skills. Probably a better tackler, and he's a better. He's probably going to be better at the line, jamming up receivers and stuff. So let's say Kool-Aid. I think is probably going to be the pick here.
Okay.
All right, Texans. This one's interesting. They just re-signed Schultz for tight end.
Right.
So that need's gone. Wide receiver is an option, although they just got Tank Dell and he's been really good. I think defensively is really where they missed the boat last year. Offensively, they got by really well. Like CJ Stroud was impressive.
Yeah.
So
you don't think they're gonna, just because of that,
Mhm.
that fact right there, they're gonna just kind of go over the top offense?
Maybe. Yeah, that's why I think it's probably between two positions. It's probably between wide receiver and defensive line.
Yeah.
As your two top options. So we've got Byron Murphy's there, still really good. Troy Franklin's rated way too high in here. They obviously didn't watch the combine and him just poop all over himself. So Lad McConkey is more. He played a lot on the outside, but his skill set, he's got really short arms. I don't think he's a good boundary option, even though he played on the outside a lot in college. He won a lot like a slot receiver. So I don't know if they need that because they have Tank Dell.
Okay.
Adonai Mitchell's there. He's kind of redundant with who's the dude they have there right now? Shoot, I just totally lost his name. The other receiver they have. The guy from Michigan. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. I'm trying to think of his name. It's totally blanking. I'm not going to spend any more time on it. So I think they need somebody with more size and can do
Nico Collins.
Nico Collins. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm an idiot. So, but he's kind of redundant. Donnie Mitchell and him are similar players. I think Keon Coleman fits the mold better on what they may need as a wide receiver archetype. He can do more post-up situations. So he'd be a power forward for them out there on the boundary. And he's not super fast, but he's got great hands, and he's a really good red zone threat. And I think they could really use that in that offense if we go that route. So depends. Defensive line, get the best one available, or we can go Keon Coleman as a wide receiver threat. What would you do if you were Houston?
Well, just to go back to so what about D-line? Do we still feel like these guys are still too early?
No. I think defensive line is in. Byron Murphy, I'm actually in the real draft. I think will be gone already.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he'll be already out the door.
And what about Jerzon Newton?
This is about right for Jerzon Newton. I think he's a little bit behind Byron Murphy. He fell down boards a little bit. I'm not really sure why, but he's been fading.
So maybe if we had to pick between him and one of these wide receivers you're talking about, what do you think? Just to kind of narrow it down.
I'd take Byron Murphy. I just would. I think they need an inside.
Okay. I was thinking since you said he'd be gone, but he's obviously not gone. So
he's not gone. Yeah, that's what I think. I think we should do that. Yeah.
All right.
I think defensively, their coach is really good on like an awesome defensive coordinator type.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to fill out that part of the team. I think he's going to look at it like, well, I gave the offense a bunch last year. Let's go ahead. We'll get offense later. I want to get my defensive tackle that can penetrate and do the things I want to do to get inside pressure.
Yeah. Okay.
Dallas. Right. So running back too early.
Yeah.
Defensive line, Jerzon Newton. A linebacker, I think it's still too early. In corner, Nate Wiggins is on the board. I'm kind of baffled by the corner. I don't think it's that huge of a situation. I do think they need defensive tackle help. And usually when one defensive tackle goes, we have a run, right? So this could be a trade-up spot for some teams, things like that. But I think Jerzon Newton's probably the player here. Do you have any objection to that? Unless you think they need another edge rusher, you think you want to deal with a second guy?
Let me look.
Okay.
Let me look at their wide receiver depth.
Okay. Yeah.
Per second.
All right.
So we've got CeeDee Lamb, obviously. We've got Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Moreno Cropper, and Martavis Bryant. Okay. Brandon Cooks and Michael Gallup. I mean, those are so CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup. Okay.
I mean, I think that sounds good to me, but
no, that does sound good to me. So I'm thinking Jerzon.
Okay, let's do Newton. Johnny is what he likes to be called now, by the way.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he's changed. He doesn't want to be called Jerzon. I don't know why. So we've got Green Bay. Safety is a big need for them, and defensive tackle. So I don't think they would have expected Amarius Mims to fall this far, personally.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard you talk about him a couple times.
Yeah. I just think maybe it's a little early for a second safety on the board. And they need a tackle. They're losing Bakhtiari, so he's going to be gone. And defensive tackle, there's none left that I think are worthy of this pick. So you want to go, let's go Amarius Mims.
Okay.
All right, Bucks. They just re-signed Evans, so receivers off the board. I don't see any guards or centers left available. It's a bad guard center draft, in my opinion, or not bad. It's just kind of the new norm where the guards and centers aren't quite as they don't go as high as they used to. This is the spot where I think Latu goes.
I was thinking Chop.
Or Chop. Okay, all right, yeah. So. Little bit about both before we make this.
Yeah.
They're the opposite type of player, which is perfect. Latu, or let's just say Latu, because it's hard to say his name. Latu is a ultra producer. He's produced in multiple systems. He's a technician on the outside. He gets sack numbers for days. Okay. He's not as good of an athlete, and he's not as long as Chop. So he's a technician and he's good at his job, but he's not like your freaky athlete kind of player, right?
Okay.
Chop Robinson has a lot of the problems that, remember, Jason Oweh did a few years ago, where he's just freaky athletic and he's long. He's got long arms. He's got great burst. He ran like a 4.49 40. So he's got all the traits, but his sack numbers, like his best year was like 4 sacks in a season. So you have to kind of rectify what you would want to do, like what you need. You need the guy to step in and just be a guy. But maybe his upside's not as good at this pick, but he's going to come out the gates probably playing as a decent player. Or do you want a guy that may or may not pan out, but if he does, he might be like Von Miller, you know?
Yeah, I mean he's an absolute freak though, right?
Yeah, he's a freak show. Yep.
Yeah, I mean what is this when you let me click on this. It says he is an alien-like athlete.
Yeah.
And from what I saw and from what I heard, he upped his stock in the combine.
He tested well. It matched.
Right.
Freaky athlete. Yep.
Okay. The coachability. Do we know about that?
I don't know enough about that. I don't know if there's an analysis on there. Probably not. Nope. Oh, here he is. Okay. Yeah, you're looking at the same thing as me. Incomplete pass rusher, like we've already talked about that. He's raw, you know.
Yeah. It's just high for him. What do you think?
No, I think into the first round is appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah, PFF's ratings are weird. I don't love them. I think that
you're calling
too cute with it.
You're calling that. Thinking about this team, I mean, don't you think are they gonna re-sign Baker?
Yeah, they're gonna try to. But they're in talks to do so.
And we still don't know about my boy, right?
Which one?
Linebacker, White.
Devin White.
Devin White.
Yeah, he's coming back. He's going to be back.
You know that for sure? I know you said that, but I couldn't find that anywhere.
The rumor is they're going to be trying to bring him back. So, I mean, maybe he hasn't done it officially yet, but that's
I don't know,
what
man.
I heard. Let's go. Let's go Chop and just say they bank on traits.
Okay.
They just want to see because they're
okay.
they've got a defensive coach and he can coach them up. So,
Right. All right.
So Arizona got Marvin Harrison Jr. early.
Right.
So that's off the board. Corners in play. Wiggins is still on the board. I think edge rusher still in play. I don't know where the edge rusher's not sitting on here at all. Doesn't make any sense to me. No defensive tackles, no linebackers at this point. Wide receivers off because we just filled it. So I'm thinking it's Nate Wiggins or Liatu Latu. Personally, I'd take Latu because I think he's going to come in and give you 8 sacks a year right off the bat. I think he's going to be like that kind of player.
All right.
Well, Wiggins, we don't know. He could end up like your boy. You know what I'm talking about. Manuel Forbes. Yeah. So let's do Latu.
All right.
Buffalo's up. So tackle's not a need. I don't know why it's on here. Defensive line is a need, but I do believe we're going to fill a lot of that in free agency with the depth and hopefully bring back Daquan Jones. Safety is going to be a need, not DB. Well, I'm guessing that's just generally DB, not corner. I guess they think that's also a need, but I think it's too early for us. Says safeties at 27, Tyler Nubin. I think that's there, but I'd rather take receiver if I'm a Bills fan and if I'm looking at this, and I just think there's too many good options.
Let me guess.
All right,
we talked about this a little bit.
Yeah. The 4 guy. Okay, go ahead.
Corey Franklin. Just kidding.
No, not anymore. Not going to work here anymore.
I'm going to say Adonai Mitchell.
Okay. I do believe that is going to be the play. Now, keep in mind, this is if they vet him. At the combine, his media availability was interesting. I'll say that.
Okay.
Not just because of his I don't run routes at full speed comment, but he had a couple, I don't even call them spats, just kind of like clapbacks at reporters while they were there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't like inappropriate the way he sounded, but he it was the reporter was being a little bit out of line, but also Adonai Mitchell was not being specific enough in his answers, and he couldn't even name one other Texas wide receiver that could be.
You told me about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
all right.
I'm hoping they vet him and he's just nervous and didn't want to didn't prep in that way.
Well, didn't you also like Keon Coleman or no?
I do. I just think we need more speed on the outside.
Okay.
And I love Ladd McConkey. I just don't think he's an outside wide receiver. A lot of people are saying
T-Rex arms, right?
He's got T-Rex arms. He doesn't win down the field well. I lost count how many times I watched him go on go balls and the ball just go outside of his fingertips.
Okay.
Like if he had 33-inch arms or 32-inch arms instead of 30-inch arms, he would have caught that. Or him diving for stuff because he can't get there and like going through his arms because his catch technique isn't comfortable when he's going on go routes or deep posts.
Right.
These are plays that outside receivers need to make, and he doesn't seem to make them frequently. So I'm going to do AD Mitchell too.
Okay.
All right. So Donnie Mitchell. Okay. So Lions. I think they need defensive back help. They got a safety last year. I think he's more of a box safety. Corner is still on the board. I think this is a decision between Nate Wiggins and Tyler Nubin. I don't know. I want to say corner, but I think Tyler Nubin's a better prospect than Nate Wiggins overall. So, but I don't think they need the safety help as much as that. You know what I mean? And it's too early. Where free agency starts next week. We really don't know what they're going to look like, and that's why we have to continue to do these mock drafts as they evolve. Let's do Nate Wiggins. I think that's a good move. All right. So the Ravens, up until last week, until they tagged Madubuike, I thought he was going to be a free agent, and I was going to take an edge player here or a defensive lineman that can go both ways. Darius Robinson was one that I really liked that can play.
Hold on a second. Who did Arizona pick? I think I put this down wrong.
Latu, Latu. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you put it wrong?
Yeah, I put it wrong. I put it wrong.
This is I mean, we're going to reset after this one anyway. So
all right, cool.
So with the Ravens, the one thing I believe about them is they want to keep retooling that defensive line. They've done a good job of just being just getting rotational pieces in there.
Yep.
And not really getting studs anywhere, and then just guys end up stepping up.
Yeah.
That and corner's an option, but I don't see any left that would be worthy of
Okay.
this pick. So what I'll say is this: just because you're franchise tag does not mean you're going to get a long-term deal, and it could mean you get traded. So I want to take Darius Robinson here. And the reason is Darius Robinson's not, he's slotted as an edge player here, but he's 285. Hold on.
Well, is it Latu still on the board?
296. No, we took him. We just talked about that.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. So Darius Robinson is a guy who's big enough to play in the middle and on the edge, so he can move around the defensive line like a chess piece.
Yeah.
He's probably not elite on the edge, but he can do it in a pinch. And that's, if they do lose Matabikwe at defensive tackle, he's more of a penetrating D tackle. Darius Robinson could fill into that spot because they're similar size. And if they don't like him there, they can put him on the edge. I just think that's a good fit in general.
Okay. I like that, man.
All right. 2 more picks. San Francisco. Dude, San Francisco's the hardest team in this draft to figure out if they have needs or not because they're so stacked across the damn board. Let's see what they got. Interior offensive line.
You got Graham Barton.
Mm-hmm. And then what else we got corner-wise here? Enos Rakestraw is there. They could use a corner. He's the only corner left worth it, though. Yeah, let's go there. Let's do corner. Okay. They don't really have any names. Okay. And last is the Chiefs, and they need a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And the scary one is available still. So the Chiefs still have Kelsey. I'm guessing he's not retiring at this point. And they've filled their X receiver spot, but they need some speed on the outside that can and MVS just didn't get it done last year.
Right.
So my thought is Xavier Worthy. I know he's small. I don't think he'll ever be a number 1 wide receiver, but you can't teach 4.21 speed. And if anybody can get a lot out of that kind of player,
it's Andy Reid.
It's gonna be Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. So that's gonna be my choice there. I think it's almost a lock. He goes in the first round. Yeah. So full results. Wait, what did I do that? Nope. All right, my results. So here's our draft. Here,
etch that baby in stone.
This is what's going to happen in the draft. So, we're back. So that completes the 16 through 32. You want to announce, like you did a video today earlier?
I did a video, just a Commander State of the Union, kind of where we are with everything, recap of the coaching staff, really important stuff that you don't want to miss. So I'll post that separately. Take a look.
Did you talk about Zach Ertz?
Talked about Zach Ertz a little bit and what I think and some of the big free agents that we have and, just kind of where we are with that. Because I think a lot changed. Just to, for example, I know we talked about Cameron Curl a little bit, but I think really with the moves of other teams, his status has changed a little bit. Not really better for him, but better for leverage with the Commanders because there's now more available.
Okay.
So I'm really curious to see what's going to happen with that. I really like the dude, but I think that us Commanders fans really fall in love with players easily because we don't get a lot of good players.
Yeah.
And so, a little bit more on that on the video and some other people. So, yeah.
Make sure to check that out. It's Kevin's first solo video.
Yeah.
Do you look good on that, bro?
Yeah.
Looking sexy? Making it pop?
I mean, you're going to have to watch it and find out. So. All
right, everybody. Like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Got really weird at the end.
Like, share, and subscribe. Get out of my face. All right, I'll see you next time.
Later.
All right.